Good afternoon to all the construction professionals, and good afternoon to today's speaker, Dr. SUJOY BISWAS, who has joined us. Let me just take a couple of minutes to introduce the speaker of the day. Dr. SUJOY BISWAS, thanks for joining us. In spite of your busy schedule, you have been able to make for this event. It would be very interesting to hear you, and I am sure that we will take, once the event is over, we will be getting a lot of takeaways from this event. So Dr. BISWAS started his illustrious career with M. Dastoor and Company Private Limited. M. Dastoor and Private Company Limited is one of the well-known consulting firms in the country, and he served the organization for 12 years after completing his graduation in civil engineering from Jadavpur University in 1989. He later completed his postgraduate in engineering management and later his doctorate in civil engineering. After his stint in M. Dastoor, he served one of the topmost software companies of that time, TSQ Software Limited, for a couple of years. He also headed the West Bengal Police computerization for next 7 years, where Webel did the front-ending for his organization based out in USA. He is also an outstanding motivational speaker and anchor and director of the celebrity show Joyer Pathe Sange SUJOY. This show ran for 200 weeks, and that is remarkable, and still running high in high-use news channel. He was also a member of Parishad for the 44-years-old NGO TIBA, where the Honorable Governor of West Bengal is the chief patron and operates in South 24 Paragana. He is also patron of the NGO Srijon Sabha, which supports children with autism and similar disabilities. So we are very happy to have you here, sir. In fact, a multifaceted personality who has promoted the brand Bengal. And I am sure that all the viewers would be happy to hear you, sir, especially when you are a motivational speaker.
Right.
And the present crisis, I think, demands a lot of motivation for all of us. Over to you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Good afternoon to you all. It's a pleasure and honor to address such an august gathering. In fact, when I was first contacted by Anirban of Ramco Systems, I said, let it be a motivational talking. Anirban came out and said that, SUJOY sir, this is, we are a cement company and you are a civil engineer. So why not make cement and stuff like that? So, okay. Self-motivated, realized how difficult it is to stay indoors without going outside, without having connection to the outer world. It's a blessing that technology has enabled us to get in touch with people over our computers, over our cell phones, all kinds of views, and people are connected all over the world. So this is a difficult time. This is a very tough time. But as I keep on telling in my shows, the definition of success is bouncing back from failure. We have to bounce back from failure in order to go ahead in life. And nothing in the world is constant. Everything is temporary and things are going to change. Change is the only constant. And we are going to change. Just for as I keep on talking on my show in High News Channel every week, and it has crossed 200 weeks, I've also started a show on Corona, and it's named Corona Kahini, and I'm talking to all people across the globe. Today, I'm talking to some person in Bahrain. Next show, I'll be talking to London. I've spoken to US, I've spoken to the rest of the doctors. Everywhere, the situation is same. Everywhere, the situation is very grave. But at the same time, everywhere, all part of the world, all people believe that we are going to go beyond this. And whenever some downfall has come, we think, difficult times doesn't pass. Good times pass in a second, difficult time doesn't pass. But at the same time, only thing that goes away and stays is time. Time goes away and time remains with us. So it's the time that we are going to explore what best can be done. Starting with M. Dastoor and Company as a civil engineer, way back in 1989 when I graduated from Jadavpur University, what I learned from seniors is that in order to be a good civil engineer, what one needs to have is a feeling of the structure. Is a feeling. If you don't feel the structure, you won't be able to design it. We were told MN till today is one of the biggest steel plant consultants in the world, which houses every engineer from computer science to metallurgy, because they are also process consultants. And I kept on, all the 12 years I was there, I kept on visiting sites every time I was engaged in any projects, be it TISCO, be it Rourkela modernization system, may it be NACAS, Nagpur Alloys and Casting, may it be any of the plants that I always kept on visiting, because I wanted to do a first-hand experience of how the site goes, how my design, the structure reacts. If I cannot feel the cracking of the structure, then the next time I won't be able to design it properly. And I keep on saying, also, you know that currently I serve on the board of one of the biggest educational consultants of the country, that's TECHNO India Group and TECHNO India University. I keep on saying to all my faculties that if you do not have a functional experience, it will be very difficult to share it with your people, with your students, because you would never know how difficult it is or how easy it is to get a crack on a system. And always I find, when I was asked to make a topic on that today I'm going to talk of, I thought of basic elementary systems, which we often overlook. I have asked a lot of questions. You know, I keep on interviewing people at different points of time, and I find a couple of minutes. Yeah, hello. Am I there?
Yes, you are there.
Am I audible?
Yes, you are audible, sir. Please take your time.
Am I audible?
You are perfectly audible, and we are able to see you.
Okay.
Please speak.
Okay. So
some echo sound there. Some kind of echo sound is coming now. Some voice is coming.
I haven't touched the system. It's the same system that.
Now it's okay.
Ask your technical. Okay. So I keep on interviewing a lot of students for their masters. I keep on interviewing a lot of faculties for the position, and I find in the process of doing specialization, people forget the basic stuff. So in this period of lockdown, in this period of a mentally demotivated state, because it's a demotivational state. People are very apprehensive about losing their jobs. People are very apprehensive of where the economy is going. You know that India has fallen from the $2 trillion economy to below, and now we are not in the first 10 economic powers of the world, which we duly made it. And where we are going, it's not that India is not good and the other countries are good and we can make it. Most of our revenues, the service industry, comes from the United States and Europe, which are in the shambles. So it is a step to garner the challenges and make out that what. But in order, as I keep on saying, everything in life, even during motivation, I keep on saying that I'm a civil engineer, and I believe that the structure can be strong if the foundation is strong. So anything, the foundation should be strong to go ahead. And in order to go ahead with the civil engineering foundation, what should be basically and first strong is the concrete. Now, when we talk of concrete, it's very funny to note that we get confused between what is a cement and what is a concrete. We keep on thinking that cement is concrete itself, because cement or concrete. What is concrete? It's cement. No, it's not. Concrete is not cement. Cement is only the portion. It's only a portion of that concrete. And cement, and in fact, in concrete is a mixture of the aggregates and the paste. So cement is the portion of the paste. Cement and the water makes the paste, and sand and gravel or the crushed stone makes the concrete. So first, I want people to be clear that cement and concrete are not same. And while we say reinforced cement concrete, we put the reinforcement in it. So RCC is the is with the reinforcement along with the cement concrete. Now, my topic today is a very simple topic, but it's again an eye-opener because I do not know and I do not believe that most of the people listening to the seminar questions instantly. And my topic today is an overview of emerging trends in concrete technology and building framework. Can I go to the slide? Can I go to the first slide? Yes, this is my first slide. Is my slide viewable? Is my slide viewable? I'm not able to hear.
Yeah, the slide is viewable. You can make it slideshow. Yeah, now it's okay.
I have a technical guy who's handling the slide, so no issues on that. Okay. I'm not able to hear you sometimes. I'm not able to hear you.
Now you're able to hear me?
I'm here. You keep your speaker on.
I'm keeping it off. Yeah.
Don't you hear you? So it's the topic is an overview of emerging trends in concrete technology and building framework. And the first slide goes like this. I'm going to the first slide. And this the next one. So, as I said that how many types of concrete are there, if I say people may not be able to get it in the first go. So there are 9 varieties. And what are the varieties? It's a high strength or the high performance concrete, which I'm going to speak on. Then there is self-compacting concrete. That is the SCC. Then there is fiber reinforced concrete, the third one. Then the fourth one is the polymer modified concrete, PMC. Then there is the high volume fly ash concrete, HVFC. No, it's not HVAC, high voltage air conditioner. No, it's not like it. We have also, if the electrical engineers have HVAC, we have HVFC, but this is for high volume flash concrete. We have the reactive concrete, that the RPC. We have the self-healing concrete or the bacterial concrete. We have the cements and we have the admixtures. So these are the 9 varieties we need to remember. At least if at the end of the day, at the end of my show, someone can remember at least that there are 9 varieties, I find that my presentation is a success. All the times I keep on saying is that if I can add a delta X to whatever people knows, then my speaking is successful. If I add a 1% success strength to my viewers, I'm successful. And this is what I wanted to say. There are 9 varieties. Trust me, I've done a lot of homework before I came to this slide because I wanted to see at least the civil engineers, people civil background should know that these are the 9 varieties. Then I go to the next slide, which is the high strength and the high performance concrete, what we say. So the high strength concrete is primarily used in critical components. For structures exposed to aggressive environmental conditions, high performance concrete ensures long-term durability in terms of resistance to weathering action, chemical attack, abrasion, etc. High fluidity without segregation, low coefficient of permeability, high dimensional stability are some of the characteristics of the high strength concrete or the high performance concrete. I've also given a snap of a cutting section of a real size RC column using a 150 MPa concrete. Steel fiber was added in this 150 MPa concrete to prevent early spalling of the concrete cover. Now, I wanted that people to exactly understand the slide, and that's the reason that at the end of the slides, I have given also a technical glossary of the terms that I've used. That what is low coefficient of permeability and stuff like that, that will come to as we go to the end of the slide presentation. I'll end with that, just describing those stuff. Then we go to the next variety of concrete. This is the first. Then the second one, that is the self-compacting concrete. The use of self-compacting concrete is in the precast industry. Basically, it's the precast industry, and it is gaining an increasing amount of attention due to many benefits that can be gained from its properties. We need to remember that the concrete is capable of self-compacting, occupies all the space in the form without any external means, like mechanical vibration. So it's self-concrete. It means we haven't got to put the vibrator on. This vibrator is very important because this vibration actually helps in concrete. We have seen during roof, any kind of things that the vibration is. Now, what goes wrong, I had the experience of in the site while I was present, while the G-blast furnace concreting was going on in TISCO in Jamshedpur. And you know, G-blast furnace has a huge depth. And what happens to the depth is that this concreting cannot be done at once. What kind of modern things? It cannot be done at once. So it has to be layer upon layer, layer upon layer. And so what we needed to do, first of all, mechanical vibrators were used. Yes, if I'm not speaking the truth if I say that it is not there. So it was there. At the same time, concrete chemicals were there. You know, the concrete chemicals which delays the time of concrete getting stick. So delayers were there. And then there were this self-concreting concrete was used, so that it is used and the vibrators doesn't make a difference between the first and the second layer. So I said the guiding principle behind the self-concreting concrete is that sedimentation velocity of a particle, which is inversely proportional to the viscosity of the floating medium in which the particle exists. Now, what is viscosity? I have explained in my technical terms that that a syrup is more viscous than a water, and what is the kind of terms if people are not aware of the viscosity. So viscosity is greatly influenced by the powder content, because viscosity will increase the powder content. It is a common practice to use substantial amount of mineral admixture such as fly ash or GGBS, which is the ground granulated blast furnace slag used for iron making, to avoid thermal cracking. Because you know that, as I said, blast furnace, the huge the temperature of around 1500 degrees centigrade. So we go to the next slide. So this is the next slide is the fiber reinforced concrete. So the fiber reinforced concrete, I say that the flexural deformation ability of a ductile reinforced cementous composite. So what is fiber reinforced concrete? Fiber reinforced concrete is a type of concrete that includes fibrous substance that increases structural strength, 1, durability, 2, and 3, ductility. So these are the 3 things that the fiber reinforced concrete will do. It will increase structural strength, the main thing, the durability, because durability is very important, and ductility. And what I have also in the technical glossary, I have also explained what is durability, what is ductility, and stuff like that, so that people are totally clear after they go back to the presentation. And I would also appreciate if you can just spread the presentation so that people have this in their database and the knowledge, but they should at least go through it once or a number of times to get some of this inside. I said the fiber reinforced concrete has minute distinct fibers that are homogeneously dispersed. That's very important. This homogeneous distribution is very important in concrete. In concrete, anything should be homogeneously dispersed, and that too also fibers. And in the concrete matrix and randomly oriented to give it a kind of 3-dimensional stability. The improvement in concrete properties by including these fibers depend on the content, shape of the fiber, and the aspect ratio. So I have also included in my previous next slides, when I talk of the technical glossaries, that what is the aspect ratio? It's actually a ratio that is there in the slide, with actually the ratio between the length and the diameter of the fiber. So this is the aspect ratio should be taken into account. And depending on this type of fibers used, fiber is generally categorized as steel fiber reinforced concrete, SFRC, synthetic fiber reinforced concrete, or the SNRC, and the glass fiber reinforced concrete, which is the GFRC. So I think that I have tried to explain this third variety of concrete. So we go to the next one, that is the polymer modified concrete. And we find that at the left, I have given a picture. It is a picture of an unmodified patch, which is easily dislodged due to lack of hydration. At right, a modified patch at 10% polymer, that is the percent polymer by weight to cement, would not budge. I keep on saying, in certain cases, we use concrete formulations using organic polymers or resins to tackle the limitations offered by the concrete. Let us consider on that in certainly what we do, we use some concrete formulations using organic polymers. So this polymer concrete is mixing the polymers, so polymer or resins. And what it tackles, the limitations ordered by the ordinary concrete. So ordinary concrete limitations can be overcome by the addition of the polymer. And polymer concrete, I say, is a composite in which 10 to 15% by weight of cement bind. So if we can remember, at least after the presentation, that in a polymer concrete, the by weight composition of the polymer is 10 to 15%. I am done. That I have been able to convey certain things. And it's the binder replaced by synthetic organic binder or a polymer latex. So that is the polymer modified concrete. So take away from the slide should be that one is the hydration is very important. So the first slide, the first portion I have said, and what can happen due to lack of hydration. So we keep on saying cure concrete, cure concrete, cure concrete, as we need to cure the human body. As water is very good for the human body, it is also good for concrete. Curing is very important. So I talked of, and then polymer, if I can take away from the presentation, can be that 10 to 15% by weight of cement binder should be there for a polymer modified concrete. I'm done with my presentation. So the next one is the high volume flash concrete or HFVA. So can I go to the next slide? Yes. So this is has a huge utility, and this is a fly ash concrete is used in several exposure applications such as decks and piers of a bridge. Most of the bridges and the piers which runs from kilometers to kilometers use this high volume flash concrete. I've given the picture of Tampa Bay's Sunshine Skyway Bridge, and that is something that is very scenic to look at. But when we think of the cynics, we only think of the computer engineers who designs software packages in those countries. It needs to be remembered, if civil engineers do not lay the foundation or the infrastructure, nothing is going to stand. If cement people doesn't produce cement, tomorrow we are going to be nowhere there, whether the economy is strong or it's weak. So I keep on saying, continue with high volume flash concrete, that it has very low water content. And at least 50% of the Portland cement mass, 50%, take away from the slide, 50% of the cement mass is replaced by class C or class F fly ash. High volume, the name itself denotes that fly ash concrete. As we talked of polymer 10 to 15%, high volume fly ash concrete has 50% of fly ash, class C or class F fly ash. Sometimes due to low water content ratio, use of super plasticizers are required to improve workability criteria while placing the concrete. We need to remember that this kind of concrete has excellent workability. Three qualities it has. It has excellent workability. Second, it has low heat of hydration and great durability properties. So these three are the main properties of the high volume flash concrete. Another important aspect is this low electrical conductivity and the consequent ability to resist corrosion. So you know that all these are concrete properties. If I cannot take it into our heart, into our passion, then we cannot be good civil engineers, we cannot be good designers, we cannot come up with good infrastructure if we do not take the basic concrete strength, basic concrete characters. When we design, we only go by the by IS 426 or SP 16 on how to design. But when we talk of implementation of the project, the site engineers know how difficult or how easy it is to get the structures done. So this needs to be remembered. Then if we go to the next page, next slide, we'll show the reactive powder concrete or the RPC. So the reactive powder concrete is an ultra high strength and high ductility composite material. It is a special concrete with its microstructure optimized by precise gradation of all particles in the mix to yield maximum density. I've given the picture, which have reactive power concrete, and we find from the picture inside on the left hand is the reactive power concrete and the right hand is the steel beams. So we find it's very difficult to distinguish, or it may be difficult for even a civil engineer by seeing a black and white picture to find out what is steel and what is concrete. So this is, that concrete or the cement in the concrete portion is strong in compression and weak in tension. And the structural part is strong in tension and weak in, that's the way that the reinforcements are done. So here the thing is like that, so that the concrete itself, not only to its compressive strength, but its tensile strength of the concrete also increase. So this is one of the takeaways from the reactive powered concrete. Then we go to the cement and we go to the nano cement. So nano cements are being developed as cements containing well dispersed nanoparticles of cement and mineral admixtures. These nanoparticles would be evenly distributed. Again, the even distribution in any sort of concrete is very important. Evenly distributed among the larger particles of mineral admixtures, and with such fine dispersion, even the lower content of cement should be able to provide us the desired binding of aggregates and admixture particles. So these are the nano cement qualities or nano cement issues that we need to discuss. That first of all, there should be even distribution. Then evenly distributed and larger particle mineral admixtures with such fine, there should be admixtures, concrete admixtures which be used, and the cement should be able to provide us the desired binding of aggregates and admixture. So it has to be very neatly monitored by the engineers who are working in the site, who are very, in fact, serious. We are very knows that what can happen if certain small things goes wrong in a civil engineering project. Now on the cement, I have talked of nano cement, and then I'm talking of the engineered cement. Now, before going to the formal, this is my last set to the engineered cement. So engineered cement can be equated to engineering the performance of a cement by tailoring the chemical composition and controlling the particle size distribution. So when we talk of, concrete, the design mix and stuff like that, we are talking of how we can, I talked of paste and I talked of aggregates and stuff like that. So engineered, first let me complete this. Then further, by the incorporation of mineral admixtures such as fly ash or as I said, the ground granulated blast furnace slag, binary blends and OPC, it offers significant improvements in, first of all, durability properties. So durability properties are duly improved. Then ternary blends. Ternary means we talk of two mixtures, then we got third. Ternary means three stuff. So ternary blends with silica flume after the microstructure and density and strengthen the weak aggregate mortar interface zone. So there is no cold joint. As we develop the interface zone, there would not be development of any cold zone between the two phases of concrete. So that is very important. And this part completes my presentation on the emerging trend in concrete technology. So these are the concrete technology emerging trend. And I also later part come to the technical glossary which I have taken. So now I'll go through some of the slides. Now, concrete is important. Now, what we need to understand is concrete is not only important, it's very costly also. So we should, and this mixing, this curing, this surfacing, surface light should be very important, because if there is any ruptures or any kind of concrete comes out from the formworks and all, then we need a lot of cement paste or cement with aggregates to make the plastering so that the outer end seems smooth. So we should be very careful, not only with the concreting and the 9 grades type of concrete that we have here. Engineers would be, the design engineers would be the best person to think that what kind of concreting out of this 9 stuff they're going to use, what will be economic, what will be they have to take into care the transport issues, the logistic issues, and what in these times, it was for all times, but post-corona, cost effectiveness should be looked into account. We should more see that which can bring down the cost of construction. And designers, in fact, just making some designs, I could have presented some slides with a lot of SPSS stuff or statistical tools and stuff like that, what is happening in the labs. But what is important is, what is important in labs is important. Yeah, that's the basic stuff that we work on. But what is more important is that how we can implement it in the site. We are very strong. Indians are very strong in planning, but very weak in implementation. Because we have mathematical brains, we keep on talking mathematics, but at the same time, when it comes to the ground reality, it becomes very tough. So I just wanted to mention before I go to the form work that no, not only do I do as a, that I maintain my job in Techno India as the director CEO. I look after all the departments. I mentor to civil architecture and the management department. I run my television shows. I have a music band with my wife and daughter. It's called Throi. We keep on singing in different platforms. I took motivational talks in television, not only in television, but also grooming the contestants, the pageant contestants all over the country, all over the state and all over the country. And I find that this is an important time post-corona where we need to be, in fact, very sincere in our efforts. In fact, the time that we are losing, we can only get back the time if we work twice or thrice after this time. And I appreciate Ramco Systems for this webinar because it's an eye-opener. Like me, people will come and open the eye on different topics. And we need to listen to them so that it opens up different vistas. We can also find that what as an entrepreneur we can add. In fact, I keep on saying Bengalis look down after entrepreneurship. Till days, that in Bengali, the word business is called babsha. The Bengali term is babsha. But we just mimic it and say beosa. Beosa means it is for the Marwaris and the other communities, not for us. I keep on finding that in Gujarat, while looking for a son-in-law, one looks for a business person. But in Bengal, people looks for a well-placed groom, So this is the kind of difference, and we should make a try. So that whole, and a huge possibility is coming. I should mention before going to forward that with this virus, this coronavirus, we are very upset with the economy and all, but it may be a game changer for India itself. The whole community, the whole world community, and mainly the superpowers, the United States, the France, the United Kingdom, Germany, are all up in arms against China. And the whole perception of the whole community, the whole world community, that Chinese people are responsible for this dreaded disease throughout the world, which has killed right at this point of time. About 7,000 people have been only killed in the United States. And 13 lakh are people affected with this virus. So I was going through the world news and I found that people are considering India as a base. India as the manufacturing base. So if India comes as a manufacturing base, nothing can be done without the civil engineers. The first phase, the civil engineers, and we should be upbeat about it. So I'll share a few slides about the form work before I come to the end of the presentation. So let me go to the first slide of the form work. So as things has changed, form work has also changed. Previously, those wooden formworks are getting changed time to time. And I quote, and I say, and I quote in my slide, that with the explosive growth in high-rise residential complex, the load-bearing wall system is gaining recognition, the load-bearing wall. The walls and the slab are poured simultaneously when using the innovative tunnel form construction method. Since the forms are stripped in 24 hours, the cycle meets the demand of the fast-track construction for repeatability cell layouts synonymous with many hotel and condominium projects. We have seen that this is the first variety of the emerging trends in formwork. This is the load-bearing wall is getting very huge popularity. And why? To make the fast-track construction and repetitive cell layouts. Then we go to the next slides and we talk of the new form materials. So what are the new form materials? These are the extruded aluminum forms, the plastic forms, the fiber forms, the fabric forms, the form liners, the comb shells, the inflated forms, and the combination of the above. So if we say, if my takeaway from the slide would be that there currently are 7 kinds of new form materials. So we have seen that the types of concrete are 9. So the types of new form material are 7. If it remembers, I'm done. If people can remember that how many kinds, the 7 kinds, and what are there, I again repeat: extruded aluminum forms, plastic forms, fiber forms, fabric forms, form liners, comb shells, inflated forms, and combination of the above. And I'll go one by one. I have given a small note. I have written form liners are normally made of rubber and silicon or thermoplastic or polystyrene to impart intricate designs and surface finishes. So that, why surface finishes and designs? Because we don't have to do the plastering and the designing part separately. So again, on the economy, so things are coming out of the labs each and every year and each and every month, so that we can go ahead with that. And I will see the example in the next slide itself. You won't be able to find that whether an artist has done it or it's from the new form types. So can I go to the next slide? So these are the typical form samples. Typical finish with form liner. It seems that the artist has done, yes or no? Then the typical circular column form. Then typical wall form. Sometimes form liners are also referred to stay in place form work because they stays in their place. They're not removed from their place, if we can do away with that. Then the next slide, we are going to talk on form samples made with aluminium. So now aluminium is slowly gaining huge popularity in different formats and also in form work. So I've given the picture of a typical aluminium slab form with adjustable props and a typical aluminium form with adjustable props in two different types. One is temporary, one is permanent. So if we go to the next form type, we'll say tunnel form samples. So find that the typical adjustable tunnel forms in two places. One we see and how that it has been cast, the other is not being cast, it is being put in the position. The sides have been, the soil have been kept in place by the walls, and the tunnel adjustable tunnel form is being pushed in place. So the retaining walls are keeping the compressive pressure of the soil to getting into that tunnel form. And now if we go to the next slide, we'll form the aluminium wall forms. So I've said that the benefits of using aluminum forms are superior to the old method of plywood forming. For formed cast in place concrete, apart from the dimensional stability of the forms, the overall quality of the pour seems much better with tighter tolerances. The tolerances are much tighter. We need to just recapitulate that previously we didn't have any formworks than wooden formworks. And these wooden formworks, even with the best of the quality of woods, could have been replaced for maybe a couple of times or 3 times. And we need to get away with this. So this kind of new formworks not only makes the surface smooth with the good types of concrete, as the concrete surface smooth and the mixing and the ductility on, but also it reduces the cost. Now we come to another variety, that's the insulating concrete forms. The next slide. And we see examples of it. The home built using an homes built using an insulating concrete forms or the ICF system literally have the insulation built into the walls as part of the structure. The system create walls that are high thermal resistance with R values ranging between above 70. So I have also explained in my slides after this, where we have complete of the R value. And what are the R values? We all know that R value is the resistance is defined as ratio of the temperature difference is a measure of the resistance to heat flow. And there are codes which determines that what will be for what kind of thickness, what will be the R value and what will be the cost. Even though ICF homes are constructed using concrete, they look just like traditional stick-built homes. Can we find any difference? There's no difference. So these are the insulating concrete forms. And then there are some pictures of slip form samples. The slip form placer boom mounted on the top. So in fact, this was one of the things of where the Empire State Building was built. So we'll find slip form samples over there. And there are also comb shells. The examples I've given are examples of comb shell forms. Comb shell, then typical fabric form and typical inflated forms in the next slide. Yeah, this slide. So these are the kind of form works that are used now these days. I conclude the presentation. I'll go to the technical glossary, but I conclude this overall presentation by saying in the next slide that the future civil engineers cannot bind themselves just to the knowledge that they have accumulated within the four walls. So as I say, the lab is good, wet lab is good in order to learn. But what they need to know is keep learning the emerging technology and apply it on field. If anybody is willing to work on research and development, then that research and development should be functional. It cannot be only for a PhD thesis. Trust me, my chairman, the Techno India chairman, keeps on saying that 99% of the thesis that all of us have made for getting our PhD degrees will be, that waste papers at a later point of time. And so we should, if we do a function and add some kind of value to the functional system, then only we'll be able to move forward. And I conclude by saying that the presentation is a humble effort to make young engineers stand face to face with the marvels of the emerging trends in concrete technology and building formula. So that was my last statement. And if I have time, I can go to the technical glossary or can just run through the technical glossary if I get sometimes. Will I go through a technical?
Yes, please. Yes, please, sir. You can.
So I'll just go to the technical glossary and keep on. So these are the. Can I go to the next slide? Where is my technical glossary? So this is a glossary of technical terms. So I say the durability of concrete depends upon degree of exposure, 1, the degree of concrete grade 2, and the cement content. A high density alkali resistant concrete will better resist the effects of moisture preparation. Since concrete is a porous material, reinforcement bars within the concrete will be subject to possible corrosion if safeguards are not taken. Adequate concrete cover to the reinforcement. We have all seen that the concrete binders which are given the cover to the reinforcement should be included in the specification in order to reduce the moisture or the salt penetration into the rebar. We need to understand that reinforced cement concrete, the mixture of this concrete and the reinforcement, if the reinforcement goes back with any kind of stuff, then the whole concrete and the reinforced concrete goes wrong. The concrete cannot itself prevent any failure because it will have a structural failure of both cement and concrete together. Should the rebar corrode, it will expand and the considerable forces involved that cause the crack to the concrete to crack. Now, what is coefficient of permeability? The coefficient of permeability of a soil. This is how easily a liquid will move through a soil. It is commonly referred to as the hydraulic conductivity of a soil. I'm not just going through every statement. I'll just to the main statements. The spalling of the cover concrete. The word spalling in engineering describes the chips or fragments of a material that is broken off a bigger object. The process of spalling is also known as the spallation, is the surface failure that occurs when a material such as concrete brick or limestone is subjected to excess moisture and stuff like that. So what is the sedimentation velocity of a particle? It is the rate at which the particle sinks or settles within a heterogeneous mixture. The next slide. So what is the viscosity of the floating medium? The viscosity is measured in terms of resistance to deformation at a given rate. For liquids, it corresponds to informal capacity of thickness. For example, syrup has a higher viscosity than water. In a more scientific term, the viscosity of a fluid refers to how easily it moves under stress and stuff like that, so we can work on that. As I have explained, the GGBS is the ground granulated blast furnace slag, is a cementous material with whom the main use in concrete and is the byproduct from the blast furnace used to make iron. Blast furnace, it's a byproduct and that is recycled. That is very important, which goes into making of the concrete strong. Blast furnace operates at a temperature of about 1500 degrees centigrade and are fed with a carefully controlled mixture of iron ore, coke and limestone. Take away from the slide. These are GGBS. If someone can remember the GGBS is ground granulated blast furnace slag, then I'm done. And the durability of a cement is defined as the ability to resist weathering action, chemical attack, abrasion or any other process of deterioration. Durable concrete will retain its original form, quality and serviceability when exposed to environment. I gave these terms so that my previous presentation becomes gets more clarity. The ductility can be defined as the ability of the material to undergo large deformation without rupture before failure. The ductility is increased by an increase in compression of the steel cement and increase in the concrete compressive strength. As I said, concrete is strong in compression, weak in tension, and the reverse is true for the reinforcement. The next. So as I already defined, that the aspect ratio of the fiber is the ratio of its length to the diameter. Typical aspect ratio now ranges from 30 to 150. So if one can remember what is the typical aspect ratio, that is from 30 to 150, my job is done. Fiber reinforced concrete, or FRC, is a concrete containing fibrous material which increases structural integrity. It contains short discrete fibers that are uniformly distributed and randomly oriented. Now, what is the water cement ratio? So the water cement ratio is the ratio of water to cement. And what is water? 100 pounds of water to 40 grams. The water cement ratio 0.4 means 100 grams of 40 pounds of water and 100 grams of cement. And as we find that the water cement ratios, the normal is 0.6 to 0.7, and there is an Indian standard code which defines that what is the water cement, how the water cement ratio will be defined. And if we can see that there are all Indian codes which keeps on defining one after the other, and we will find that in the Indian code IS 10262 2009, IS 10262 2009, we have the definition of this water cement ratio, which is we're going to find. Then if we go to the next slide, the ternary blends. As I said, the ternary blends, ternary is like tertiary. It's the third level, the third mixture is the ternary one. So if we cut the ternary mixtures, concrete mixtures includes 3 different cementitious materials. The report addressed this combination of Portland cement, slag cement, and a third cementitious material. The third component is often fly ash, but silica fume is not uncommon. ASTM C595 blended cement used in the combination with thick cementitious material, also a non-considered, is a ternary mixture. So this is ternary. So what is silica fume? It's a typical byproduct of producing silicon metal or ferrosilicate alloys. One of the most beneficial uses of silica fume is in concrete. Because of the chemical and the physical properties, it is a very reactive pozzolane. Pozzolane means the materials that aggregates which we use in the concrete. Concrete containing silica fumes can have very high strength and can be very durable. Silica fume is available from supplies of concrete admixtures, and when specified is simply added during concrete productions. What is repetitive cell layouts? We said this is in building construction. Few layouts are needed to be repetitive in nature, such as the rooms of hotels, classroom, or school, and so there can be repetitive cell layouts. Such building layouts are called repetitive cell layouts. Few methods allow fast-track construction for such layout. What is extruded aluminum forms? Building aluminum extrusion materials mainly refers to aluminum profiles used for building doors and windows, building curtain indoors and outdoor decoration, and building structure. Then we go to the next slide. So these are the plastic forms. Typical plastic. So the plastic forms is manufactured from specific grade plastic that neither materials adhere to or chemical reactions occur between the poured materials, and the plastic form, consequently there will be no patch on the surface of the reinforced concrete cement. So that's very important because the plastering becomes very easy. What are the fiber forms? So these are the plastic forms. The fiber forms, the fiber reinforced concrete is concrete containing fibrous material which includes structural integrity. We have dealt in detail during the forms. It needed to be remembered that in addition, the character of fiber reinforced concrete changes with varying concretes, fiber materials, geometrics, distribution, orientation, and densities. So we need to, so that when the design mix or design concrete, these are taken into account. So now we go to the form liners. So form liners are the liners used in the preparation of designs on concrete walls. Use of form liners often result in more attractive walls for highways, neighborhoods, beaches, and parks. As I said, that the outside design becomes easy. And the composite forms, the steel concrete composite shell forms. So composite shell forms are formed by pouring concrete on a thin sheeted steel base, which serves as both the permanent formwork and the tensile steel reinforcement. The thin shell base constructed by boiling together an open-top modular units consisting of base plate with surrounding edge plates is a steel shell with the stiffeners in both directions. The new system retains all the benefits of the thin shell concrete but eliminates the need. So that is a typical, now I come to the typical fabric form. Fabric form Building technology that involves the use of structural membranes as the main facing the material for concrete molds. Unlike traditional formwork, the material is highly flexible and can deflect under pressure of fresh concrete. Now the typical, typical. Then we come to the typical inflated form. Next slide. Typical inflated form. So building with inflated forms offers the contractor varied opportunities, arches, domes, and other shells, and some of the other beautiful, efficient shapes for concrete structures. And yet, such shapes in concrete have been underused. So we need to say what is underused, what is not used, what are the new kinds of use. What is high thermal resistance? High resistance is the ratio of the temperature difference between the two faces of the material to the rate of heat flow per unit area. Thermal resistance determines the heat insulation property of a textile material. The higher the thermal resistance, the lower is the heat loss. So the heat loss is again an economic content. And then naturally comes the R value, which is a measure of the resistance to heat flow through a given thickness of material. R value is important, but it's just one of the 4 key factors that determine the effective loss of an insulated material. Sample table shows R value with thickness of the fiberglass wall. So I have given the table for R, which it's for 11 to 34, I think. The table goes from 11 to 38. Now I've talked a lot about slip form, which is slip form, continuous poured, continuously formed, or slip form construction. A method in which concrete is poured in continuously moving form. Slip form is used for tall structures such as bridges, towers, buildings, and dams, as well as horizontal structure. I've marked about that. So forming a 118 tall grain silo in Zurich in 2015, continuous slip form gravity-based structure supports under the construction of Norwegian Ford. The visible jeep cranes would each be deflected buckets of concrete to support the cylinders. Now come to the placer boom, an indigenous solution that ensures faster completion of the job and reduced downtime. Available the lengths of 17 meters, the boom always allows quick setting up by overcoming the necessity of cumbersome piling. Then the comb shell forms, as I said, these are steel concrete comb shell forms are formed by pouring concrete to a thin, stiffened steel base and shell, which serves as both formed by pouring concrete salt, thin stiffened shell base, which serves as both the permanent framework and the tensile steel concrete. Then we come to the typical fabric form. Is a building technology that involves the use of structural membranes as the main facing material for concrete. Until traditional form of the material is highly flexible and can deflect under pressure. Fresh concrete, the resulting forms exhibit curvature as well as excellent surface finishes that are generally not associated with the concrete structures. And then the typical inflated form. The building with the inflated forms offers the contractor varied opportunities. Arches, domes, and other shells offer some of the most beautiful, most efficient shapes for concrete structures, and yet such shapes in concrete have been understood in the past because of the cost and complexity of the forming. However, with the efficiency of inflated forms, these attractive shapes become economical to build. Inflated forming gives the builder a chance to work more completely and to expand his volume of work by passing some of the savings on to the owner. So this, I come to the end of my slides, and I thank for a patient listening of such a huge, but I keep on saying that koshish karne walon ki kabhi haar nahi hoti. So we have to keep on, koshish karna chahiye. I keep on saying one thing, that in this time of challenge, I motivate myself also saying that good thoughts lead to good actions. Correct. Good thoughts lead to good actions. Good actions lead to good habits. Good habits lead to good character, and good character leads to good destiny. So ये thought process जो है कि webinar का करने का, that and the action that we have taken. So actions, so good thoughts, good action. Good actions will lead to good habits. We'll have continuous webinars like that. So good habits will lead to good character. We'll keep on learning every time, and good character will lead to good destiny, because after the lockdown period is over, we'll have a destined for something more. And all my effort was to add a delta X knowledge to what the people say, not a knowledge, retentive knowledge, the knowledge that can be retained. And I keep on saying that असफलता एक चुनौती है, उसे स्वीकार करो. असफलता एक चुनौती है, इसे स्वीकार करो. क्या कम रह गई, उसे ढूंढो और सुधार करो. क्या कम रह गई, उसे ढूंढो और सुधार करो. जब तक ना हो सफल नींद चैन को त्यागो तुम, जब तक ना हो सफल नींद चैन को त्यागो तुम, संघर्ष का मैदान छोड़कर मत भागो तुम, संघर्ष का मैदान छोड़कर मत भागो तुम। कुछ किए बिना ही जय जयकार नहीं होती, कुछ किए बिना ही जय जयकार नहीं होती, कोशिश करने वालों की कभी हार नहीं होती, कभी हार नहीं होती। थैंक यू। I hope I've been able to raise certain issues. Forward to question, I'll give it offline as it comes. You can take the questions for me, pass it on to my mail, and then I'll just pass it on to all of them.
Thank you, sir. It was indeed a inspiring talk. You're able to hear me, sir?
Yeah.
It was a very inspiring talk. In fact, you had dealt with two important critical areas. One is concrete and the other is formwork, which goes with each other. And two very important points that you had made. We as an organization also share with you. In fact, you had talked about engineered cement. And when we were interacting with customers, we came to know the various types of concrete, and based on that, we have formulated 12 different types of cement for different applications, ranging from precast applications to normal concreting to a concrete with a higher slump retention time. In fact, we have OPC 53 grade infra, which we have specially engineered for concrete with higher slump retention of more than 3 hours. So the engineered cement which you had, we also share that, and it is a very important point that you have made, which has made a great influence on us. As well as, one thing that you also spoke about was the research and development. In fact, very important point that you made was research and development activities should not be confined to lab. It should be related to the site. And we have a research and development center at Chennai, where what we do is that we make the concrete that is made at site, and we try to improvise on that rather than making something called laboratory trials alone.
That's what is required at this point.
A combination between a theoretical and a practical exercise. Would you like to take some questions, sir, or offline you would like to take, or how is it?
It's almost gone. We'll take it offline.
Fine, sir. So what I will do is that I will send the questions by email.
You send the questions, I'll send the answers. Yeah.
Perfect. Right. So thank you so much, sir, for sparing your time with us. It was
Thank
nice
you
having you.
It was nice.
It was indeed a motivational speech along with civil engineering. So that was the special significance of this talk. Thank you so much.
I tried to make it as lucid as possible, as clarity as possible, and also that's the reason I clarified the technical terms so that they're there. And anything addition to this coming up, I'll take it in my mail and will revert back with answers.
You are all highly motivated, and thank you for sparing your time, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay.